Welcome to another new, very exciting brand review in my opinion. And why is that so exciting? Because as you've seen in the title, we are going to talk about Tom Ford. And it is really hard to talk about Tom Ford, the brand, without talking about Tom Ford, the person. So I tried to tackle basically both sides of the story, but I tried to keep it short on the person because the person itself does really more focus towards fashion and this kind of stuff. Makeup is more of a, I don't know, just like a product that kind of happened. So let's dive into it. And by the fact that I do not have any makeup on right now, you probably already guessed it. I also do have a few complexion products from Tom Ford, and we're starting with the first one, and this is the Traceless Soft Matte Primer. This, spoiler alert to my ranking that will be coming in December, won the first place for favorite primer. I don't think that there is any primer out there that is better than this Traceless Soft Matte Primer, because this is the perfect mix of hydrating, blurring, mattifying, and just perfecting. Whatever is in this little bottle is just pure magic, and I know the day when this is running out on me will be a very sad day. And you know just how much I love to combine different video topics, and not only are we doing the Tom Ford brand review, I will also be including a first impression of this new Soleil Winter Collection. I was able to grab both of the highlighters and the new quad, and the quads is something we really have to talk about. So the person Tom Ford itself is born as Thomas Carlyle Ford, and he's born August 27, 1961 in Austin, Texas. Yeah, I think it's Austin, Texas. Okay, yeah, in Austin, Texas. Just had to double check because I thought, did I read that right? Because I don't have glasses on, you know. Everything is in like size 100 so that I can read anything. And just to keep it short on his personal career, I think his career is very outstanding because he actually never graduated in something fashion. You know, fashion school, fashion college, or design college, whatever. He actually studied architecture. It's so funny. At the New School's Art and Design College, Parsons, the New School for Design in New York City. He studied architecture. He had nothing to do with fashion. And in his first jobs that he gathered, he never ever told what exactly he studied. He only said that he studied at this design school. There is this nice story of him, and I have to read that off. And Tom Ford called the American designer Kathy Hardwick every day for a month in hopes of securing a job at her sportswear company. Hardwick eventually agreed to interview him. She later recalled the incident. "I had every intention of giving him no hope. I asked him who his favorite European designer were, and he said Armani and Chanel. Month later, I asked him why he said that, and he said, because you were wearing something Armani. Is it any wonder he got the job?" It is so clever. It's a detail he was just basically paying attention to, and he was able to not lie, but he took his passion for fashion and makeup. In some of those articles I read that he was giving his mother advices on hair, makeup, and interior design at 9 years old. When he was 9 years old, he already developed this passion. When I was 9 years old, I had a big passion for Barbie. What the fuck? And the way I dressed them was definitely not designer appropriate. And I don't really know how familiar people are with the doing of Tom Ford and what he has done before he basically did the label Tom Ford, but he was basically the person that saved Gucci from being bankrupt in the 90s. So in the 90s, Gucci was actually really struggling with finances and being able to just stay relevant in the market. And the creative director, Don Mello, said no one would dream of wearing Gucci. So in 1990, Mello hired Tom Ford as the brand's chief women's ready-to-wear designer, and Tom Ford then moved from the States to Milan. He also said, Tom Ford said in an interview, that American design is just not doing it, and it's like suppressing his vision, and Europeans are much more open to designer stuff. So in the span of only 6 months, Tom Ford started to begin designing menswear, shoes just came shortly after that. And Richard Lambertson, like, I don't know that name, but he was the design director. He left in 1992 and Tom Ford basically took over his position. So he started to do like the ready-to-wears, the fragrances, image, advertising, store design. Everything is based in the 90s on Tom Ford's vision. In 1993, Tom Ford was actually in charge of designing 11 different product lines, and he said in an interview that he worked like over 18 hours a day. Like, what the fuck? That's a passion? Is it healthy? Not, but oh boy, it's a passion. And that was also the time where he kind of got into a bit of a tension moment with, what's his name? Maurizio Gucci, which is basically the company's chairman at that point and had 50% of ownership. Don Mello said that in an interview that Maurizio always wanted to have everything round and brown, while Tom Ford wanted to have everything square and black. So Maurizio Gucci actually wanted to have Tom Ford fired for that, but Don Mello basically insisted, like, no, he has to stay. That did actually pay out, because in 1994, Tom Ford was promoted the creative director of Gucci, and he then started to, to rise up. Because in the years 1995 and 1996, sales at Gucci expanded by 90%. Like, imagine a growth of 90%, and this is my cat scratching. And in 1999, the brand's value was at around $4 billion. Like, just imagine, nearly insolvent, $4 billion. Work of Tom Ford. What I did not know that also in 1999, Gucci acquired the house of Yves Saint Laurent, and Tom Ford was basically the creative director over there too. And the brand, like, they were not happy about that. There is this very, very weird quote, and it says, Saint Laurent, like the person, did not hide his displeasure with Ford's design, stating, "The poor man does what he can." Tom Ford won awards with the fashion that he designed for Yves Saint Laurent. So I think the poor man was just right. So in 2004, Tom Ford left Gucci, and shortly after that, he just created the Tom Ford label. The label itself was created in 2005, but the first collections came out in 2006. Just a short rundown, most of the stuff was just fashion. And just to tell you some names who wore Tom Ford. Michelle Obama by an event to Buckingham Palace. He also dressed Beyonce, Jennifer Lopez, Gwyneth Paltrow, Anne Hathaway, Daniel Craig, Tom Hanks, Lily Depp, Ryan Gosling, Will Smith, blah, 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 blah. Tom Ford also designed the suits for the last 4 Bond movies, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die. He also was mentioned in the, in my opinion, very, very good 2013 song Suit and Tie from Justin Timberlake, and was actually mentioned, which was the song? Wait a second. He was mentioned numerous times in a song by Jay-Z that was called Tom Ford. It is just amazing. So now let's head over to the brand Tom Ford after we have talked now about the person Tom Ford. And before we start that, let's talk a bit about the Winter Soleil collection, or Soleil Neige collection. To be honest, Tom Ford as a brand to me is quite new to myself. I never was really into Tom Ford, but I started to use the brand last year. I fell in love with the foundations. I fell in love with the complexion products itself. Like, I even bought a stick concealer that we're going to use today. And I don't know what it is, but the Tom Ford aesthetic is just very, very sophisticated. At this point, I do own 3 quads besides the new one that we are going to talk about in a second. I do have both of the quads from the Cherry collection. I think that was like a fall release for last year. In that collection, you got 2 different Tom Ford quads. One being the Electric Cherry that just has 4 beautiful satin metallic shades. Like, Do not expect these to be shimmer glimmer as indie brand. Like Tom Ford is very grown up, sophisticated makeup style. Let me just tell you that. Not exactly what I like to wear, but it's really good. And the other one is the Cherry Smoke Quad, which comes with 3 different mattes and one a bit more intense metallic. When it comes to the Tom Ford quads, there is a thing going on that I personally still don't understand, because I tried also the full release for this year, and that was the Dark Opulence and Ambrosia quad. I got that sent by my friend Danielle from the... Okay, I just had to interrupt because my cat was annoying me. Where was I? At the quads. Like the Dark Opulence and Ambrosia quads. These were the worst eyeshadows I've ever tried in my life. And the brand is charging 80 money for these. 80 money for 4 fucking eyeshadows that were so freaking dry. I was unable to use them. Like, I call myself pretty good in makeup. And I also say that I can create looks even with eyeshadows that are not the best quality. I can do that because kind of everything works. But these were an insult. I then read a bit into the Tom Ford line, and basically, like, they're all Tom Ford quads, but there is a bit of a difference going on. So from what I know now, please correct me if that is wrong, these that have the TF imprint are top. Then the line that is called the cream, like their cream eyeshadows, they're also very good. When it comes to these, it can be hit or miss. Isn't that awesome that you are not safe? Like your money is not good invested in every eyeshadow quad. Isn't that awesome? I just bought this Cherry Smoke Quad because all the reviews were really, really good, and I was not proven wrong. This is a really good quad. So I have actually high hopes, because from what I have seen online, the stuff that comes in this white packaging is also good. At least this is the opinion on the internet. So this is now the Soleil Neige Eye Color Quad in the shade. I just forgot that there is a plastic overlay and the 2 bullshit brushes in there, and they just are like, they just fell down, and I was like, what the fuck? This is the shade Lumière Diver. It's French, I don't know. I will write the name somewhere on the screen. But this is the inside. Like, oh, come on. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Let me give you a close-up. I don't know if you are able to see that, but the sparkle in the 2 shades here is just out of this world. They look like the wet translucent shades from, for example, Makeup by Mario that I really love. Or the Chanel, the new highlighter, the pearly white highlighter, or just Fenty Diamond Bomb. This looks so stunning. In this collection, you also have 2 highlighters that are very, very good apparently. One is the shade Rose Irisé. This is a pinky highlighter. And then you have Gran Paradis, which is a more golden highlighter. Initially, I was only interested in the rose shade, but then there is a friend that I have, and she basically convinced me that this highlighter, the Gran Paradis one, is a wet dream. So I'm not too sure which one I'm going to use. I will probably swatch both, but I will end up using the golden one because it just looks so, so good. The Tom Ford highlighter formulation seems to be also a bit hit or miss. Like, a friend that I asked, because I know that she's really into Tom Ford, was like, yeah, can you recommend those highlighters? Because these highlighters do retail for 70 something. Like, they are all super expensive. The quad, I paid 90 euro for that. And she was like, yeah, skip the highlighters. But then I saw other reviews where somebody was referring to that, and they were like, these highlighters are different from the previous ones. We will just see how it goes. So, I mean, this quad is very limited in eyeshadow colors. I don't know if I really need this bone shade, because I think I would have preferred a gray in there, or a lighter brown with more cool undertones, but we can definitely make this work. And sometimes there are just days where you or I just want to wear something like that. So just a quick rundown of the Tom Ford brand while I do my makeup. He founded the brand in 2005. That was like the main date. But as I said, the first kind of collection came in 2006. Also, the website tomford.com launched in October 2006 and was initially offering descriptions of the brand's products and later on hosting the online store. In April 2007, the first directly owned Tom Ford flagship boutique opened at Madison Avenue in New York. And in September 2010, he there presented his first like women's line. So I took some of this dark brown and I'm very afraid to use it because it just looks so dark. But I apply this on this outer part of the lid, and whatever is left I blend into the crease. Do you see what I mean with Tom Ford quads are hit or miss? I hope we can save this look with the light shade. Maybe that's why we have the light shade in here, to correct the patchy shit that is currently going on. I mean, it's not that bad, but if you know those very creamy matte formulations from, for example, Natasha Denona or indie brands, you are like, okay, why is this so fucking dry? So on a very fluffy brush, I'm now taking this bone colored shade and, oh, that was really dusty. Hopefully can just correct this. Or I just cover everything. Like, what the actual fuck? Look at the difference. Like, I actually have to go on top of this with the brown again. Maybe I should have applied the bone colored shade first and then blend the black or the black brown into it. I think it looks better, but it's not perfect. So let's go back with the darker brown. I kind of like the crease blend that is going on because this is turning into a more grayish shade. And I think this really saved the look. Do I wish that I did not have to do this extra effort? Yes, especially when the quad is charging me 90 bucks. I don't want to take that extra route. But it is what it is. So in 2015, Tom Ford then opened his first flagship store in Miami, and in 2017, the first one in London. In 2017, by the way, that London store is a beauty store. When I researched all of this, I stumbled across an article on like a business magazine or something. Like, I don't remember the exact name. By the way, I'm applying some literature now. And there was a part of like questioning why did Tom Ford go into the makeup line, like his fashion, his like watches and stuff, menswear, women's wear, ready to wear stuff, or even like high fashion, even in clothing. They were doing very good. Like, why beauty? And Tom Ford just sat there something like he wanted to create just something effortless for man and woman, because for him makeup and fashion is not really like stuck to gender. Everybody has the right to feel good in their skin, and if that is with the help of some concealer or some brow product, for example, why should men not be allowed to wear this? And I have to admit, I love this fact, I love this thought, and I don't know if you know that person, there is a guy over on TikTok who's working in kind of a Japanese Tom Ford store, I think, or at least the description is in some kind of Asian. Like, please do not be offended if I don't know the difference between Chinese, Japanese, and Korean writing. I just don't know it. It's something Asian. And he's just showing how effortless he is including Tom Ford makeup on his face. And he just looks so stunning with this makeup on, because it's nearly impossible to tell that he is even wearing makeup. I love that. So let me now just tap into the upper right shade. That is a bit more silvery dark. And I just hope that this glitter is not only an overspray. I apply this now all over the lid. To be honest, this is much more opaque than I thought it will be. I was 100% sure that I will see my skin poking through, which I don't after one layer. I just like to intensify it and put on a second layer. So Tom Ford as a person has of course some controversies, and I think we have to tackle them. And I think, and I say this before I tell you what the controversies with Tom Ford are, his response to these controversies, to this criticism towards him, is just legendary. So he basically has mainly been criticized for using naked women in his ad campaigns. Like there was a naked woman that is sitting with spread legs and holding the perfume bottle between her legs, or ironing a man's pair of trousers while he is reading the newspaper, and it's like, was it also for perfume? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's for the clothing. And I just have to read that for you, so I cannot translate that in the same spark. Responding to criticism that he objectified women, Ford stated he is an equal opportunity objectifier. This. And is just as happy to objectify men. He argued you can't show male nudity in our culture in the way you can show female nudity, and pointed out that he did a male nude ad while at Yves Saint Laurent, which got pulled down. So Tom Ford basically said, I can objectify everybody, but our society will not accept men being objectified. It will not sell, while a naked woman can sell, but he would do it with a naked man. And to be honest, showing a naked woman, showing a naked man has nothing to do with objectifying. Like, it's a body. The persons who are objectifying things are the persons who see this. They interpret something in somewhat that is not there. And as a response to that, it gets better. The more I read that, the better it gets. In 2014, Ford released a product called the Penis Pendant Necklace. The product caused some controversy with Christians, calling it offensive due to the pendant being shaped similar to a Christian cross or like crucifix. Ford replied that it was not meant to be a cross, it is a phallus, and people read into things that they want to. He could not be more right with that. It does not matter how you're doing it. People will always say that you meant to do it something like in some other direction while you actually didn't. So just the fact that he doesn't give a fuck about that, I love that. Will I ever be able to afford Tom Ford clothing? Probably not. And I don't really know if this is my style of clothing, It's a very sophisticated clothing line. It's very elegant, and this is just not my everyday wear thing. And I don't know if I could justify paying, I don't know, $200 for a t-shirt. Like, I don't know if it's really 200. I did not research on the clothing line, but to be honest, I imagine this being the price for a t-shirt. The Tom Ford makeup itself is very, very, very expensive. Like, we're talking $150, for example, for the foundation that we are going to use, $80 to $90 for a quad, $70 to $80 for a highlighter. It is just a lot of money. And I found on another website the statement that everything that Tom Ford is using in his beauty line is just top-notch ingredients, top-notch products. And then I'm just questioning the fact, how is it possible that when you say you use only the best of the best of the best of the best ingredients, that some of your quads are like this bullshit quality and literally an insult to every makeup lover. What is not an insult is actually the Shade and Illuminate foundation. This was the first Tom Ford purchase that I did last year in December. I remember that because I wanted to have that so bad, and I got some student discount on the website where I bought this, and I could not be happier. This is a very heavy foundation. I'm just saying that right away. It is very heavy, but it's not cakey, but it feels foundation-y. If you don't like the luminous thing, they also have the Traceless Soft Matte Foundation, which is basically the companion to the primer. And they also have a Traceless Soft Matte Primer. And they also have a Traceless Soft Matte Concealer that we're going to use today. I really enjoy this foundation. And if I had to decide, I don't know. I could not decide because the finish of both could not be more different. This is, as it says, illuminating, and this is matte. I do wear the shade 0.3 Ivory Silk, I think. Yes, Ivory Silk, and there are days where I'm not really sure if this foundation is matching, but as soon as I start to blend it, it kind of does. Tom Ford also has brushes as far as I know, but I never tried it. The Traceless Soft Matte line not only has this concealer, the primer or the liquid foundation, they also have a stick foundation. And I think this is one of the most popular stick foundations, but I personally never tried it because I used to have my Westman Atelier stick and I liked it, but I don't think that a stick foundation will ever be an item that I need to have in my collection. I'm more of a liquid foundation girl or no foundation. But if people are using stick foundations from the luxury department, it's mainly the Traceless Soft Matte stick. Both Shade and Illuminate and the Traceless Soft Matte are pretty full coverage. Besides his makeup, I think Tom Ford is also in the beauty industry mostly known for his scents. For example, Black Orchid is one of the first scents the brand ever released in 2006, followed by Rose Prick and some other ones. My personal favorite scent from Tom Ford is Ombre Leather. I just cannot get enough of this scent, and to be honest, I love the fact that most of Tom Ford scents are unisex, so it does not matter woman or man, both can wear these scents, and I think both smell amazing. Like my husband uses Ombre Leather too. I ordered from my husband from a website that sells like sample sizes of perfumes. I think, oh, what was it called? I think Tobacco Vanilla or something, and Oud, whatever. He loves all of them, and I could wear them too. This is just such a good scent line. So for concealer, we're using the Traceless Soft Matte Concealer, and I wear the shade 0C0 Bear. And what I do is I just apply this like regular concealer under my under eyes. And you can already tell this is not like really brightening or so. It is more my skin tone, so it could also work as face concealer. And it goes on super creamy. Like when I thought of a stick concealer on my under eyes, I was like, okay, this is going to be dragging, this is going to be pulling on the skin, but it truly isn't. He also has powders, I don't own them, and there's also a Shade and Illuminate concealer, which I myself never tried. But the concealer is 100 money, so... The foundation is 150, the Traceless Soft Matte is slightly more affordable with around 80. And can we just talk about the fact that these are the tools that you get when you buy a Tom Ford Quad? You get this little brush with a flimsy angle brush and one of those spongy applicators. And the other one you get is a double-sided sponge applicator shit. Like, what the fuck? I have to admit, the hairs on this feel super soft and nice. But it's still bullshit. I don't need that. I throw them immediately away. As I mentioned, Tom Ford has brushes, but they're very, very expensive. So for example, their Shade and Illuminate foundation brush is 75 money. The cheek brush is 80. The eyeshadow blend brush is 57. And we have a bronzer brush for 120. Oh no, this is the foundation brush. It's 105. We have another foundation brush for 75. A concealer brush for 68. Smoky eye brush for 53. Like, it's a lot. Oh, and I forgot to mention the Shade and Illuminate line also has a matching primer. So it basically can work all together, but I'm not that committed to the brand that I need to have the whole collection of one of his lines. I think one of his famous complexion products is this little guy. This is the Shade and Illuminate Face Duo or Contour Duo. For the longest time, this was only available in like 1 or 2 shades, but I think they re-released it last year and brought out a whole line of different shades. And I am in 0.5 and it's called Intensity 0.5. And what you get is basically a cream contour and a balm highlight. I am a sucker for balm highlighters. If you didn't know, I just love the way they look on the skin. And I also love this contour in here. It looks a bit dark, but I promise you can make it work. With cream contours like that, I love to use more flimsy brushes, but with a flat top. And what I do is I just twist and twirl the brush in the pan. And now I just start slightly applying this. And you already can see I used way too much because this is so pigmented. Like, what the fuck? But I wiped something off on a towel and now I'm just blending that out. In my opinion, this is not a true contour shade. Like, it could be much more cool toned than this, but it's a beautiful like mix between bronzer and contour. This shade is actually what I wish the Tantour from Huda could have been, or like should have been in my opinion, but it was way too dark. I do not own any blushes. I don't even know if he has cream blushes, but I also don't have powder blushes. So for my cream blush, I will be using this Asian one. This is the FMGT blush in the shade, I don't know, 02? I can't read Korean. And this is a cushion blush. So it's more of a glowy, moist blush. I hate this description. But since my eye look is very cool toned wintry, I thought this cool toned pink could work really good for this eye look. Do you know those ASMR videos on TikTok where people are doing cushion stuff and they have their mic super close to the face and all you hear is this? I just instantly know that I have to apologize to my future me who is editing this video, because this sound, not even recorded, but like in real life, is making me want to throw up. Do not expect this being a glitter bomb. This is really just a balm highlight, and this is one of the few items in my makeup routine that I apply with a finger. So I basically just swirl my finger in it and then I just tap it where I would apply a highlight, and this gives such a nice highlighted effect. It's like freshly applied moisturizer. It is a sheen. It's just a sheen without any glitter. To me, this is one of the best duos I own, one of the best face palettes I know. For me, face palette is everything that has more than one shade in it. Is it worth the money? I don't really know if you have to buy this, but I think it's a really good one. And I just see that my whole compact is scratched. Like, what the fuck? Who hurt you? So let's finish the eye look. And usually, you know, in those brand reviews, I try to use as many products from the brand as I can, but I didn't want to mix in the cherry stuff because this is more warm tone. I just want to stay in this winter cool tone thing. So I'm taking a very, very precise, like straight liner brush, dab it into the dark brown, and I use that to press this and slightly connect it also into the lower lashes. I want to have a very, very concentrated line of dark brown. And I think we need some liner, or do we? Can we get along without? I'm now taking a clean smudger brush and I go over this brown to soften it. With no additional product, just whatever is on the skin. And with the same brush, I'm now tapping into the bone colored shade. And I now blend this like slightly underneath the main color and flick it up a bit. I want to mimic this soft blend from the top lid, but it's not the easiest task on this very limited space here. We do have one shade left, which is this one. It looks so delicious, and I will use this as inner corner highlight now. Fingers crossed that it is as pretty as it looks in the pan. It looks prettier. This is a really intense shade. I did not expect that, I'm honest. So I just quickly set my face with the Milk Pore Eclipse powder and did my brows. Tom Ford does have brow stuff too, but I never tried that because I don't know if I can justify 90 bucks for a brow pencil. Or is it 90? Wait a second, let me check what the brow stuff is at Tom Ford, because, you know, I do have my handy dandy iPad over here. So Beauté, Ayas, and then where is it? Oh, the brow sculpture with one refill is 56, and the brow gel is also 56. Oh, then there's an eyebrow laminator for 55. The fuck not? Like, this is too much. I cannot justify that. Do you know what I really love about Tom Ford? It's the naming. Emotion proof mascara. They also do have an emotion proof eye primer. Then they have a badass eye color quad. I never heard anybody talk about this. One of the most popular items in the Tom Ford line is his bronzer. This is the Glow Bronzer. Yeah, it's just Glow Bronzer. I thought there was something more to the name. And I do have the shade 02 Terra because this is much more cool toned than 01. And years ago, they brought out a big one, like the size of my hand, big one. And I'm so jealous that I was not into Tom Ford when this came out because I totally would have bought this. But now we will live with the Terra one in the small. And it's also quite expensive. I think it's around 90 euro I paid for that. But it's a really, really good one, I have to admit. Even though it looks so dark, it kind of melts into whatever you have. And it leaves a nice contoured shape. I think 2 shades is not enough, in my opinion, for the line. They could have done better with more shades. Like, with a bronzer, bring us at least 4. I do not need a bronzer like my face color, but bring us at least 4 different shades. So as I said, I do not own any blush, so I'm going in with House Labs in the shade Dragon Fruit Days. And no, I did not forget to do brow highlight. I just want to incorporate both highlighters, and I thought we will now do one highlight on the face and one as brow bone highlight. So motherfucking clever. Initially, I wanted to take this one as brow highlight, but I think we just have to incorporate both of these. I nearly dropped it. I don't know if you can tell, I just swatched them side by side for you. And this one is Rose Irisé and this one is a Gran Paradis. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I think Gran Paradis is much more intense. But I also like the rose one. I think both are quite translucent in their initial appearance, but when you turn it and the light is hitting it, it's actually quite pretty. So I will use a Gran Paradis now on my face. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury actually sculpting brush, but I use it only for highlight. So let's see. Oh boy. Oh wow. It's different than what I expected, I'm honest with you. Much less golden than I thought it will be, which is actually nice. It does not look as wet as I thought it will be. Now let's use Rose Irisé, whatever French this is. And I apply this now underneath the brows. Can you see this very subtle touch of highlight? This is a very not in your face highlight, but still effective in my opinion. Like, the difference is visible. I like that, I really do. Should you now run out and buy these? Probably not, but I'm also happy that I have them. Okay, let me just finish the face because I do not have lip products from Tom Ford, and then I just have some final thoughts on the brand. Okay, so this is now our finished look with Tom Ford products, at least the one that I own. I just wanted to mention, when it comes to packaging, the Tom Ford stuff comes in packaging that is kind of reflecting the collection. So for example, the regular stuff is in a brown cardboard, while the Soleil Neige comes in this beautiful silver reflective packaging, and everything at Tom Ford is packed in this like faux velvet satin things. Personally, my opinion, I think this is just waste. I never keep them. I always throw them right in the bin. I just kept them for the video. Quick thoughts on the 3 Soleil Neige products. The eyeshadow quad, despite being a bit difficult for me in the beginning, is actually really growing. I totally see myself wearing this more because it's just a very different take on a winter eye. But I have to admit that I think that this color story is something I do already have, and just without checking, I think I have these 4 colors in Natasha Denona I Need a Nude and in Makeup by Mario Ethereal Palette. I don't check now. I won't. No. Not now. Or do I? Okay, wait a moment. Yep. Bone colored shade, silvery shade, the dark shade, and we can say sheen is kind of the one on the bottom left, or whisper. Yeah, okay, so if you are still thinking about getting this and you have the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude, you have the shades already in this one. For the Makeup by Mario one, I think it's very close, but Makeup by Mario is not as cool toned as the Tom Ford Quad. So just to show you kind of side by side, it's so hard to do this. I think it's very, very easy visible, especially on the dark shade. Like the darkest brown in Makeup by Mario is so much warmer than the one in the Tom Ford. So I think a better dupe for this is definitely Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. Personally, I don't think Tom Ford is a brand that you have to run out and buy. Do they have great products? Absolutely. Do I think that Tom Ford as a brand is kind of a staple in today's fashion and beauty world? Absolutely. Keep in mind, Tom Ford this year was bought by Estee Lauder. And the problem is there is something that is called the Estee Lauder curse. If you don't know what that is, Robert Welsh has a very interesting video on that, on all the brands that kind of went out of business as soon as Estee Lauder accomplished them. The thing is, when brands buy other brands, chances are high they're only buying the brand to have the formulations. And I really, really hope that Estee Lauder is not going to destroy Tom Ford in the long run. But I kind of have the feeling it already started, because when you look on the Tom Ford Instagram page, there are so many people criticizing especially how the scents have changed since it is under the Estee Lauder umbrella, how they're not as long lasting as they used to be. And I don't know. If you ask me, what is the one product that you need from Tom Ford? If you're just sitting there and you said, okay, I want to buy that one Tom Ford luxury makeup item, the primer. The Traceless Soft Matte Primer is the product I recommend the most out of everything at Tom Ford. So what's your opinion? Do you have Tom Ford makeup? Do you like Tom Ford makeup? Are the quads and the general stuff that he sells something that appeal to you or not? How do you feel about it? Fun fact before we end the video, Tom Ford not only does beauty and like fashion and makeup and stuff, he's also a filmmaker. He directed a couple movies, and as far as I have read, now that he retired from fashion and the beauty industry, he wants to pursue his career in the movies more. So I cannot wait to see a movie that's directed by Tom Ford, to be honest. So thank you so much for watching. And if you wanna, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the info box and stuff. Don't, of course, forget to subscribe, because we are awesome here over there. And if you have any requests or any brand that you would like to see in this series, then let me know down below. And don't forget to subscribe, because otherwise you would miss those. And I will see you in the next one.